He was born June 1st, 1990.
He had a hard time coming into the world, so it was not an easy childbirth. So it was kind of tense. But he was kind of like a miracle baby for us.
Stephen was a funny kid throughout his, growing up.
Well, he was the baby, and our kids were pretty spread out. So his oldest sister is 31 or 32. 32. Stephen was 18, so there's a bit of an age difference there. But Stephen was kind of doted over when we brought him home, and we had a lot of fun with him.
He used to stand right here on this hearth and entertain us.
He's funny like me.
He would
he'd be just like a toddler,
animated,
and he'd be just doing animated things, and we'd clap.
And he'd stop and he'd look at us and see that we were clapping at him, that he's the star, so he'd do more and act more funny.
He'd clap back.
And just, he was always a happy kid, just full of life, and everybody loved him. And his cat. He loved his cat.
Our relationship was really good after he kind of grew up a little bit. When he was like 15 and got older, we got closer, like best friends. He just knows how to keep a smile on your face.
He played baseball, basketball, football. Football for Rainier Middle School.
His passion was baseball, though.
Yeah, and baseball for Auburn Mountain View, and basketball for Auburn Mountain View.
He had friends everywhere, from work, from school, from baseball, from everything, his job.
He was a great person. Fun, loving, very active. Loved baseball and snowboarding. He was always cheerful. He worked hard. I could go on.
I don't think I ever saw Stephen in a bad mood. We went on vacation together, and we're never going to be able to do that again. It was fun.
Probably one of the funnest times we had. I'm glad he came. That's like memories we'll always have. And the pictures and just him being there.
My proudest moment was his graduation.
We were short on graduating people here, so he was actually the first of his siblings to graduate, and it just meant a lot. It was kind of a milestone for not only him but for us too. So we were pretty proud of him that day.
I was very happy for him.
The night before Stephen's accident, Debbie and I were in Florida, and we were to return New Year's Eve, and get back home and just for the New Year, just in time for it. And we got home about 11:30, and we stayed up long enough to see the New Year in and kissed each other goodnight and went to bed.
January 1st, 2009, I was called out to investigate a serious injury collision. I arrived and located the collision along with several other investigators. It was a single vehicle motor vehicle collision. There were two occupants in the vehicle at the time of the collision, both males, both under the age of 21. The vehicle failed to negotiate a curve that it was attempting to make, which had been a left-hand curve, and the vehicle went into a broadside slide, striking the curb on the southwest corner of the intersection. The vehicle continued after that initial strike on the curb and struck a large wooden power pole that had been on the corner of the intersection. The power pole had been sheared off by the impact with the vehicle. The damage to the vehicle involved was extensive. It had bent the frame on the vehicle into the shape of a U, with the initial impact being on the passenger side of the vehicle, on the passenger side door. The sheet metal of the vehicle that hadn't been in actual contact with the pole was grossly deformed. The roof line of the car on the inside, the headliner and sheet metal behind it had been forced down into the passenger compartment of the car. The damage was extensive. We found that the passenger in the vehicle, or learned that the passenger in the vehicle had suffered a compound fracture of his right leg, and that the driver of the vehicle, who was in more serious condition, had suffered a pretty severe head injury.
About 5 o'clock in the morning, I got a call from the Auburn police officer. I was woken up by the call. I didn't really know where the conversation was going, but he ended up telling me that he was involved in an accident, and I was actually thinking it was my other son, initially. But he told me it was Stephen, and that he was transported to Harborview, and that we needed to get up there to see him right away. We were trying to anticipate that he'd be, we're just hopeful, really. We weren't getting caught up that it was going to be as tragic as it was. They weren't real specific. They just, it was one doctor. He said that he explained his injury as on a scale from 3 to 15, with 15 being normal. He was at about a 4. And, that's when our hearts started to sink. Patrick, the kid that was with Stephen, he suffered some injuries. He broke his pelvis bone, I think, in 4 places. He had a blood clot that actually passed through his heart, that the doctors they said that normally kill anybody. But he's got a little ways to go. He's got to rehab a bit. About 6, 7 o'clock that first evening, we were totally spent because, number one, we hadn't gotten too much sleep. And we didn't eat anything all day. And, we were just, emotionally, we were just drained. And Krista, our daughter, told us that she was going to stay the night. She wasn't going anywhere. So she assured us that she was going to be there for him. So we were able to come home and get some rest. And by the time we got home, Krista called us and told us that Stephen's friends were starting to show up. They were there to support Stephen. They figured he's going to be okay. He's going to get through this. He's in a coma and he's going to come out of it. And they didn't realize the extent of his injury. So I had to break that news to him too. And their hearts were being ripped out too.
I had went into the waiting room and talked to the kids, and I had told them that, and I was very distraught too. And I just looked at them and I said, no parents or family should have to go through this.
That was horrible, knowing your friends in the hospital and seeing them like that.
It's not the Stephen you knew, seeing him just lay there, not laughing and having a good time.
And he wasn't there to be the picker-upper,
Yeah.
to put a smile on your face.
I didn't want to leave his side. Because in a way, it's like letting go.
Well, at the end of it, I left because I couldn't handle it anymore, like knowing that he was gone and that there was nothing that any of us could do anymore. It was just hard to see that unfold right in front of you.
I was there actually until they took him out after he passed.
Somebody had told us that when they're in a coma, they can still hear you, so I was trying to talk to him.
Just how much she loved him.
I just wish it wasn't my brother or anybody, but it's hard to watch your surroundings in such heartbreak.
The kids that were able to experience his time in the hospital, I think they were. I think it was a grace for them too, because they experienced even in life and in death. And kids don't understand death that well to begin with. And I think it really hit home. It was one of their own that they lost. The accident happened Thursday morning, New Year's Day. And he passed Saturday afternoon, early afternoon.
I've been lucky enough in my life not to have lost anyone at the age of 18. The only thing that I can think of, though, is for the family members and for the friends of these young men is that one decision, getting behind the wheel, was a huge life-altering choice. I just look at it as a tremendous waste of what could have been.
We were kind of looking for Steven's cell phone and some of his other things, but got a few personal effects out of his car that the officer let us have. And I got a few hats, and I wear a cross. This was in his glove box, and that's mine too. Does it look familiar?
And I have this that I wear close to my heart. It's a picture of Stephen that my mom and my brother gave me.
You know, just kind of keep some focus there on keeping him alive in our hearts.
He made a lot of people better in a lot of different ways.
I miss what we could have had. Like, as far as building a relationship as life goes on. Like, if I was gonna get married, he'd be my best man. Just stuff like that.
This is laugh. His smirk when he thought something was funny and you didn't, but he had that smirk on his face. And his laugh.
Miss everything.
Even if he went through something bad in a bad situation, he wouldn't let it get to him. And even if he was upset or in a bad place and someone was upset, he'd always do whatever he could to make them feel better and put a smile on their face. He may be gone, but he'll never be forgotten.
As part of my duties with the police department, I sometimes am called on to speak at the DUI Victims Impact Panel. I tell people to take a $20 bill or a $50 bill and hide it someplace in their wallet or their purse. And when they're out and they're thinking about getting behind the wheel when they know they shouldn't be, get that $20 or $50 bill out that they have hidden and call a cab, because I can promise you that $50 or $20 investment is a lot cheaper than what a DUI arrest would cost, or heaven forbid, you get behind the wheel and go out and injure or kill another driver on the roadway because you're driving impaired. The $20 or $50 investment doesn't seem like a whole lot at that point in time.
his friends meant a whole lot to him. So I think Stephen's message would be, you know, for his friends to take heed to what's happened to him. And I think that would really be his message.
I think Stephen would, if he had something to say to his friends, I think he would say that he made a mistake.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of kids being invincible is that sounds like a cliche too, but that's a reality. They don't think that it's going to happen to them, and you know, consequently, this just keeps happening. You know, it's something that we see all the time. But you know, I think ultimately, if this can make a difference, I'm sure it has. You know, the kids being a little bit more responsible and have a designated driver, or, you know, I think a lot of those type of things are taking shape.
And I think there's a lot of peer pressure out there.
There's a lot of it, but you can't let it get to you.
You know, I'm 24, and I've pushed my luck drinking and driving myself so many times, and never once thought about it. You know, like, as much as this has opened my eyes, and that's really not worth it. This has been a lesson learned for me too. You know, I won't get behind the wheel when I drink.
Don't drink and drive.
It's not worth it. It's not worth how it makes everyone else feel.
The pain it puts you through, and your family, and your friends, and seeing someone's parents go through that. You never want to put your family through that. And all the people who care about you.
You kind of just gotta go into it as knowing, like, prepare yourself before you drink what you're gonna do afterwards, you know? Because when you drink, your judgment goes away. And, you know, if you don't have a plan, you just do whatever. Don't get behind the wheel.
Don't drink and drive. It could take your life.
Open my eyes, I try to see, but I'm blinded by the white light. I can't remember how, I can't remember why I'm lying here tonight, and I can't stand the pain, and I can't make it go away. No, I can't stand the pain. How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes, got nowhere to run. The night goes on as I'm fading away. I'm sick of this life, I just wanna scream. How could this happen to me? Everybody's screaming, I try to make a sound, but no one hears me. I'm slipping off the edge, I'm hanging by a thread. I wanna start this over again. So I try to hold on to a time when nothing mattered, and I can't explain what happened, and I can't erase I just